Who do you think is the weirdest character in Attack on Titan? Some of you might think Reiner, of course.
結婚しよう。
But this time, we're going to focus on Hanji Zoe, the brain of the Scouts. Hanji has attracted so much attention from readers over the years because of her overly eccentric personality. In this video, we're going to go into more detail about the popular character Hanji. Please be aware, this video contains spoilers up to the final chapter of the manga. So, please only watch if you've read all the volumes of Attack on Titan. If you're also ready to give your heart for Hanji, subscribe to the channel so you can get notifications when we release a new video. First of all, for those of you who don't know who Hanji is, let's take a look at her background. Hanji Zoe is a character who first appeared in the manga in Volume 5, Chapter 19, and wears a haphazard style haircut with glasses or goggles. While serving as the Scouts' 4th squad leader, she's also extremely passionate about researching Titans. She talks to them as if they were her friends, and even cries out in pain when she conducts experiments on them, as if she were the subject of the experiments. While I see this as just a testament to how much empathy Hanji has. At first glance, many people had the impression that Hanji was just a very eccentric character, or a psychopathic mad scientist. However, like Levi, Hanji is a veteran soldier who served in the Scouts for many years, and she's a smart person with outstanding judgment and great insight. After Erwin, the 13th commander of the Scouts, died during the recapture of Wall Maria, Hanji was appointed as the 14th commander. In contrast to the mad scientist she becomes when she's talking about the Titans, Hanji's personality was usually soft-spoken, friendly, and mild-mannered. Even in front of the Titans, she was always cheerful. But according to Isayama sensei, she is the scariest character when she's angry. In Volume 8, Chapter 34, when a Titan's face comes out of the broken wall, Hanji is shown getting emotional towards Priest Nick, who's hiding the truth of the Titans from her. Hanji has many different sides of herself, and she shows them all, but every side of her is attractive, making her a very popular character among readers. Hanji as Commander. After the death of Commander Erwin, Hanji was appointed as the commander of the Scouts, and we saw a different side of her. After arriving at the basement of Aaron's house, the Scouts learned about the truth of the world, and after entering the Marley chapter, the Scouts had to deal with other countries, which was completely different from anything any of the previous Scout commanders had to do when they were just defeating Titans. She was also sometimes pushed around by Aaron, who would just do whatever he wanted. Hanji was more like a diplomat than a soldier in those days, and she had a difficult time dealing with the enemy Marley volunteer soldiers, the nation of Hizuru, and other foreign countries that weren't easy to deal with. While she understood the necessity of the rumbling to defend the people of Paradis Island, she also felt that there should be no genocide outside the walls, and she's caught between the two as the commander of Paradis Island's most influential military force. This caused Hanji to lose most of the cheerful attitude she had as a commander. However, towards the end of the story, when Aaron's rumbling is triggered, Hanji decides to stop it in order to repay her fallen comrades as the leader of the Scouts. A lot of people wonder why she chose to do this, because Flock was right. If the rumbling was stopped, the people of Paradis Island would all be in danger. But what a lot of people seem to forget is that before they found Aaron's basement, the Scouts, up until that point, all thought that they had been fighting and dying for the sake of humanity. In the eyes of Erwin, Moblin, and all of her other fallen comrades, who died entrusting her with the fate of humanity, would she ever be able to face them if she abandoned humanity to being killed by Titans? She made contact with Magath and Peak from the Marleyan army, and called on them to unite with her regardless of their past so they could join forces to stop Eren. While regaining her true character, Hanji makes a decision in the midst of a desperate situation, with the end of mankind looming ever closer. Similar to the previous commander, she decides to make a suicide attack on the Titans to buy time for her followers to stop Eren. After appointing Armin as the 15th commander of the Scouts, Hanji meets her in chapter 132 of volume 33. Let's take a look at Hanji's final moments as shown in volume 33. Hanji's final moments. Hanji dies near the end of the chapter in chapter 132, when Eren triggered the rumbling and countless Titans began to move. Hanji and the others joined forces with the up-to-then hostile Marley army to stop Eren. Just as they were about to board a plane and head for Eren, the Jaegerist flock came out of nowhere and punctures the plane's fuel tank with a gun. They weren't able to take off immediately because of this, but at the same time, a horde of Titans was closing in on them. The biggest horde ever. Hanji saw this as a sign that it was her turn, and it was time for her to take responsibility as the commander. She might have been thinking about what Sanes, a member of the military police, had told her back when she was torturing him, that people take turns playing this kind of a role. After hearing Levi tell her to give her heart for the first time, Hanji confronts the Titans. As she does so, she looks down at the Titans and says, "Titans truly are marvelous." A final line that just oozes Hanji's character. And then she attacks the Wall Titans. A lot of people wondered if she'd be able to do anything, but you have to remember she's been a scout even longer than Levi. To survive in the Scouts that long, you would have to be a competent fighter. In the heat of the moment, Hanji manages to hold off the Titans single-handedly until her equipment can't handle the heat anymore and explodes. Just when you think that we've seen the last of Hanji, a startling scene unfolds on the next page. Hanji is lying in the footprints of the Wall Titans, and when she gets up, Moblet, Erwin, and the rest of her dead comrades are there to greet her. I was already crying, but once I heard Erwin's voice, I started ugly crying. Like, you don't want to see that, trust me. Moblet helping Hanji get up, her complaints about Eren's idiocy. It was a very emotional moment. I'm definitely one of the readers that was surprised to see that scene in the chapter. The title of chapter 132 is Wings of Freedom, which is the symbol of the Scouts. As a result, Hanji was the last of the old members of the Scouts that would die. But I think that the title of the chapter represented not only Hanji, but all of the members of the Scouts who had died, including her, who had fulfilled their roles and were free. This was the first time this type of a death scene had ever been used in Attack on Titan, and I think this reflected the author's desire to give us an end to Hanji's story that was very like Hanji, by showing her complaining to her friends in a light-hearted way. You can see it all in the 33rd volume, so please go take a look at Hanji's heroic moment again. The relationship between Hanji and Levi, one of the main veterans who supported the Scouts for many years, just like Hanji, is Levi Ackerman. Levi is the captain of the Scouts, and by himself was as powerful as a whole brigade of soldiers. Erwin, Mike, and Moblet, who used to fight alongside Hanji, are already gone, leaving only Hanji and Levi as the remaining veterans from the previous generation of Scouts. This makes me wonder about the relationship between the two. I'm sure it won't come as any surprise that there are a lot of fans that ship these two characters. There was actually a scene in chapter 126 that made us think that they might be intimate with each other. Hanji had found Levi, who had been hit by a lightning spear and was in a near-death state. While Levi seems to be unconscious, Hanji, who's in a weak mental state, mumbles to Levi that they should just live there together. Her words are coming from her desire to give up on everything due to her current mental state. But it kind of sounds like a proposal, which might have surprised many readers. In this scene, it was possible to see a more romantic side to Hanji. But in reality, this wasn't coming from her desire to be together with him forever, but was just a moment of weakness because she didn't know what to do, and also didn't have to hide her feelings in front of Levi. Let's not forget, Hanji is in love with the Titans, and they are all she is thinking about, whether she's asleep or awake. Also, Levi seems to regard other people as dirty, so I doubt there's any romantic feelings between them. However, in Chapter 9, there is a scene where Levi grabs Hanji's head and makes her turn towards him. The fact that Levi, who's a clean freak, touches Hanji's shaggy head without any hesitation shows that they are very close to each other. And after Hanji loses her left eye, Levi often stands on the left side of Hanji as if to protect her from what she can't see. In the last chapter, it's confirmed that Levi is still alive and being taken care of by Falco and Gabby. But if Hanji were still alive, these two might have lived together. If you re-watch the final scene of Chapter 132 with the relationship between Levi and Hanji in mind, it becomes even more emotional. Levi used to call Hanji Four Eyes, but after Hanji's death, he said, "So long, Hanji, watch over us." It's rare for Levi to ask someone to watch over him, and in fact, in the last chapter, he meets Hanji and the other scout members who had passed away, murmuring that they were watching over him, and that this is the end of the story. If you hadn't noticed anything mentioned, please check volumes 33 and 34 again. As you can see, Hanji was such a well-made character, with many sides to her personality and depth to every one of them. If you have any comments about what you like about Hanji, please feel free to share them with us. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you again in the next video.